Hi there everyone and welcome. As you can see, I'm at home having a look at some brand new products that are coming out from TaylorMade. But before we get into that, please make sure you hit the subscribe button to see loads more content from all of us here at Golfshake to help you play more and play better. And don't forget to hit the notifications bell as well to be kept up to date with everything as soon as it hits the channel. Now, I've got the brand new Hi-Toe Raw range of wedges here from TaylorMade to take a look at. But before I do that, obviously things aren't ideal. We can't get out on the golf course and test these products. But what I'm going to do is get in the performance centre. I'm going to use the Trackman to the fullest extent of its ability and test these. But let's have a bit of a look at the tech. When we take a look at this new range, we can see it's quite a familiar look to the finish on the wedge that we've seen before, and personally I think it looks fantastic. Certainly this kind of glare reducing finish that the wedges have on them, and this kind of, I don't know, it's almost like a dull coppery kind of finish, I think just looks absolutely stunning. Now, the Hi-Toe wedge has been very popular since it was introduced, and for a couple of reasons. One, it makes the wedge slightly more forgiving. They're able to move the CG up as well to help with the trajectory. But also you've seen it a lot on tour with players in their sand wedges and lob wedges, because we've got this full face groove in there. Now, this means that we're going to get spin all the way across the face. Not that the best players in the world are going to miss the middle of the face much, but certainly when we're playing slightly more delicate shots out of bunkers where we might open the face up a little bit and kind of out of rough where the ball might jump up the face and move around. Sometimes when you do hit those shots, you know better as much as anyone that you don't hit the grooves all the time. I certainly don't anyway. Sometimes it comes a little bit out of the toe or quite high out of the face. And these wedges are able to sort of maintain some of the spin that you'd get on a more centered strike because of that groove pattern that they've got. Now, a lot of the technology in the face has been taken from the current mill grind 2 wedge that's out there. This sort of raw finishing on there, which will rust over time and is designed to do that. So what we can see here is obviously the groove pattern and also like a laser etching in between the grooves as well to add a little bit more spin. So what TaylorMade is saying is that they've actually made these grooves slightly sharper, a little bit narrower, but deeper as well. So it's kind of helping to get more sort of debris away from the strike and impart even more spin on the golf ball. And we'll certainly be putting that to the test when we get in the performance centre. So another really great feature is, as you can see on the back of the wedge here, it kind of goes quite thin on the top line and sort of thickens out a little bit. Now, what TaylorMade have done that for is to try and move the CG up without making the top line of the wedge look really chunky and horrible, because a lot of players, and particularly better players, don't want to see that when they sit this wedge down behind the ball. They want to see a nice slim top line, a blade looking appearance to the wedge. But what TaylorMade have found is that if you put so much weight down in the bottom of a golf club, then the ball is going to launch quite high, and trying to control the spin and sort of the flight window and the trajectory window that players want to see is quite tough. So the way that they've done that is by moving some of that mass up the head. The other way is obviously recessing this bit in the sole as well. So they've saved a bit of weight there that they can then reposition higher up the club face to help that. Now, I've got 3 different head shapes here and lofts to have a look at. So I've got the 52, which doesn't have the full face groove, a bit more traditional look. I've got the 58, which does have the full face groove in the 10 bounce. And then I've got the Bigfoot wedge, which is a slightly wider sole, higher bounce wedge, again with the full face groove. Now, let's talk about this Bigfoot wedge in a little bit more detail. Now, the reason it's called that is because the sole is significantly wider than some of the other models, and we can see this kind of C-shaped grind on the bottom of it. It says 15 degrees of bounce, which is quite a high amount of bounce, but certainly for that player who might struggle out of bunkers or really struggles around the greens when the ball's in the rough and might need something that potentially is you can hit down on a little bit more, because a lot of players that I teach tend to be quite steep in the short game, and wedges that have got less bounce on tend to dig a little bit on them. So something like this could be the answer to your prayers, really. And certainly some of the players who I fitted for this previously have almost found it's like a bit of a magic wand out of the bunkers, particularly. So I'm really interested to test this and get it in the Performance Centre. We can see this milled grind sole that we've got on the bottom of these, so TaylorMade are able to make sure that the soles on all these wedges are absolutely spot on by CNC milling the sole on every single wedge that we see there. So we're expecting these to feel fantastic, spin a hell of a lot, but also I think they look great as well. But let's put them to the test. So we're going to head over to the Performance Centre. We're going to hit some shots inside with a difference. Obviously we can't get on the golf course, but we can have a little bit of fun with this. So I'm going to test them with the brand new TP5 and TP5X golf ball that's come out from TaylorMade, and also see exactly how they perform in a variety of different distances and conditions. So let's head over there now and see exactly how they perform. So apologies for the music you can hear in the background at the moment, but I'll tell you why that is in a second. I thought, seeing as I can't get out on the golf course or the short game area and test these wedges, I thought we'd try and do the next best thing in here in the Performance Centre. So what I've done is actually utilised a brand new feature of the Trackman, which is this bullseye game, which I'll show you in a second. So we've got 3 different kind of locations you can choose from. There's just a normal country club setting, a kind of cityscape where you're hitting from one rooftop to another with the bullseye on there, and this one, which I thought looked pretty cool. So it's a Wild West kind of scene. So we've got different distances, I think anywhere from about 40 to 70 yards. So should be pretty good to test some pitch shots with these wedges. So I'm also going to use the brand new TP5X golf ball that we've just been sent. So hopefully put that through its paces a little bit as well. So let's go and have a look. So we've got obviously the 52, 58 and the 60 in the Bigfoot wedge here that we can have a bit of a go with. So this first one we've got 47 yards. So I've got the 58-degree wedge here, just a sort of half shot with that really. Let's see how it goes. But first look, this is the first time for a while I've tried a wedge with this full face groove on. And like I said before, I'm not sure whether I like it, but I think it's something that you'll probably get used to fairly quickly. So let's have a bit of a hit. Not bad, a little bit long, but it's okay, it's in the target. Let's hit one more. Bit long again. They do feel very good off the face, however. You can see as well, I've only hit a couple of shots, but you can really see there that it's leaving an imprint of the golf ball on the face already. So these grooves have got some serious grip on them. I mean, that's a brand new golf ball, and yeah, it's left a mark on there already. So let's have a look at this next target. So we've got 61 yards this time. So I'm going to try the Bigfoot wedge in the 60. See exactly how that goes. So again, I don't think it's a full one. It's not bad. Not bad at all. Again, it's got that full face groove. And again, it's left quite a decent mark on the ball. First shot I've hit with it, it's taken quite a big chunk out of the cover of the golf ball. So I'll have a look at the golf ball in a minute and see what it's like. But a bit of a pulley one, a bit long on the train track nearly, I think. They certainly feel very good off the face. I actually quite like the look of them as well. I mean, after saying before that I didn't like this full face groove kind of look, after a couple of shots you don't really, not that you don't notice it, but it doesn't put you off at all. Now let's just hit one more. Hopefully won't hit the train. A bit pulley again. In the target though, that's not bad. We'll take it. But yeah, again, feels great. I actually quite like the way the sole interacts with the ground. I think it's pretty good. I actually prefer it to the 58 that we tried before. It feels great off the mat here. Let's just have a look at this golf ball. And I mean, it has scuffed the cover up a little bit if I look at it. So yeah, I mean, that's with what? I mean, these are brand new, obviously laser etch grooves and laser cut, and very sharp, and you can actually feel when you run your hands over the face quite how much abrasion there is there. But yeah, it's leaving little marks on the golf ball, which I'll take a photo of and I'll show you. But yeah, it's bearing in mind this is a brand new ball straight out of the packet. I'm not sure I'll be all that happy about how much it's taking off the cover of it, really. So third shot we've got here, 39 yards. I'll stick with this with the big foot because I actually quite like it. So let's have a bit of a go. Just a little 40-yard shot, so it's just a little chippy one. That'll do. But yeah, I really like the way it looks, to be honest, and I didn't think I would like it, if I'm honest, but I really do. I just really like the way that sole interacts with the ground. It just feels very, very good. And you can actually, it's quite versatile. So if you want to play a shot with an open face, you can do as well. Well, let's try it here. So we've got 50 yards on this next one. Let's just try opening the face on one a little bit and just hitting a little 50-yard shot with this 60-degree wedge. See if we can hit one really high. Get a bit more height on it, see if we can get it to come down and stop a bit more. Not bad. Gotta hit it over the train this time. So let's try one, let's open the face a little and just try and cut underneath this one a bit. Get a bit more height. It's good, it's quite versatile, this sole, you know, in the big foot wedge. I really like it. Let's try something else. So let's just try hitting one with the, so we've got 50 yards again. Let's try it with the standard 58 this time. Definitely feel that the sole doesn't react with the ground quite as nicely as the big foot one. It's that little bit diggier really when you're hitting it, which you'd expect because it's a slightly lower bounce. So it's kind of designed to do that. So maybe for your wedge player who is that little bit shallower and maybe sweeps it away, this kind of wedge might be slightly better. Whereas I tend to hit down on it quite a bit, so that extra bit of bounce on it's actually what I look for in a wedge really. So again, we've got another 50-yard shot. We'll just hit one more, and then we'll hit a few full ones with the 52 as well. Good again. Like I say, pretty happy. They feel great. You can almost hear the sound of the grooves when it's kind of imparting spin on the ball and really gripping the cover of it. But I'll put some photos on as well and show you exactly what the face looks like after I've hit a few shots with this ball. But yeah, it's certainly grabbing a hell of a lot of the cover of the golf ball. So yeah, I mean, on the basis of the shots we've hit here, they feel good, they look good. Like I say, this full face groove might take a little bit of getting used to, but I still think it looks pretty good. So we'll hit a few fuller shots with the 52 and just have a bit of a look at that and see the kind of distances. Obviously this looks more of a traditional kind of look to a wedge where it's not got the full face groove. I love the colour of it, and like I say, it sits behind the ball really, really nicely. So let's just hit a few sort of nice and smooth ones. Again, it's leaving that sort of imprint of the ball on the face, so it's gripping it quite heftily. So they do feel really, really good off the face, and I say they look great too. You can almost hear when you strike it how much the wedge is grabbing hold of the cover on the ball. Let's just try almost like a half shot with it. Again, the spin's very impressive. I really like that it's not just jumping straight up in the air. A lot of wedges do that when you hit pitch shots with them, but this one, the flight seems to be quite penetrating and really good. So let's try and hit a few fuller ones with those other two wedges. Again, it's not just jumping straight up in the air, which I really, really like. Normally, sometimes when you hit wedges on the Trackman here, they kind of disappear out the top of the screen, and these aren't doing that at all. And that's obviously down to some of that technology they've put in where they've actually moved some of the CG up. Obviously thinned out around the top, but thickened towards the top of the head there, where they're trying to move the CG away. And obviously taking some of the mass out the sole too is helping to really drill that ball down. That's exactly what I want to see when I'm pitching. Again, just feels great. Let's try and do the same with the Bigfoot as well. Again, like I say, the thing that impressed me most when we were hitting shots in the Wild West before was the way that the sole interacted with the ground. So let's see if it's the same when we're hitting a slightly harder shot. It still feels good. Again, we can see we're getting that bit more height now, which we'd expect. Obviously, it's a couple of degrees more lofted. So the ball's getting up there in the air a little bit more. Decent amount of spin as well. Again, sort of 80 yards-ish, so it's a bit more of a full shot. That's probably as much as you would take a 60 degree from, really. You wouldn't hit it much harder than that. Again, you can just hear, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's just zipping off the face with how much the cover of the ball is kind of getting gripped by the grooves and that kind of laser pattern on the face as well. Let's just hit one more. Again, it's just zipped off the club face. A little bit lower flight that time, similar yardage though, and the spin is really impressive, but you can really see how much of the cover it's just ripping off the ball every time you hit it, and it's certainly an aggressive groove, definitely, and something that potentially you might not like if you value your golf balls, because it's going to shred a few of them up to start with. It's certainly taken a big chunk out the cover on this one. Like I say, brand new TP5X ball, it's not cheap either, so it's maybe something that will kind of dull a little bit over time, but I mean the amount it's grabbing hold of the face and spinning is pretty impressive, to be honest. I've loved testing these, loved hitting them, and particularly this Bigfoot I think will suit a lot of players who maybe struggle with their short game a little bit, and it'll kind of get you out of jail to some extent, really. So yeah, it's definitely a wedge you should try if you're looking for a new one this season. Let us know what you think. Have you got wedges with these full face grooves on? Do you like them? Have they taken a bit of getting used to? Again, just if you've got any questions as well, please pop them in the comments section below and we'll do our best to answer them. But I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all very, very soon.